At a certain point, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu asked him, why you were so ferocious against any chanting in the streets previously, but tonight you didn't do anything. Can you explain? He said, yes, I can explain, but we should go alone into a private place because this is very confidential. The Lord said, my associates are also very confidential, so there's no secrets for them. He began to speak. He said, last night, he said, the night after I broke that mridanga, I went to sleep. And in my sleep, suddenly I was awoke. There was this ferocious being on my chest. He had the head and the claws of a lion and the body of a man. His eyes were red like fire. His teeth were like sharp swords. His tongue was like a dueling sword. His mane, it seemed to be scattering the sky. And his claws were sharp as razors. He roared. He screamed, Kazi, you have offended my devotees, and you have bifurcated the mridanga, and today I will bifurcate you. And the Kazi said he dug those claws into his chest and began ripping him apart. Narasingha Dev Bhagavan Ki Jai. And then he stopped and said, Kazi, you haven't done anything so wrong yet. But if ever you impede Nam Sankirtan of my devotees, I will be back to destroy you and to destroy your entire dynasty of Malechas and Yavanas. So he made a promise to Lord Chaitanya that neither he nor any of his descendants would ever interfere or create any obstacle to Nam Sankirtan. So here, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, in the first Nam Sankirtan party in the history of this world by Lord Chaitanya, he appeared as Lord Nrsingadev to remove the obstacles from his devotee's life to chant Hare Krishna and become perfect. So this is a great tradition. In fact, in Navadvip, there is a place called Narasinghapali, also Devapali. In Satya Yuga, after Lord Narasimhadev performed his lila with Hiranyakashipu and received the prayers of Prahlad Maharaj and blessed Hiranyakashipu to get liberation on the basis of Prahlad's prayers, he left that place to return to Vaikuntha. But on the way, he remembered that in the coming Kali Yuga, I am going to appear in my full, most munificent incarnation of Gauranga Mahaprabhu. And remembering the mercy that he was going to bestow upon the whole world in this avatar, which was actually his original form, he decided to visit Navadvip. So Lord Nrsingadev came to the island of Gotramdvip, just on the border. in the Mandakini Ganga River, he washed his hands and drank some water and took rest. Haribo. And all the demigods, Brahma, Shiva, Indra, Vayu, Chandra, they all came down. Vishwakarma made beautiful little huts for them to reside on different hillocks and valleys. As long as Nrsingadev was resting there in Navadvip, they also were there to worship him. And Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu would bring his devotees there to worship Lord Nrsingadev. During Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's South Indian tour, after he took sannyas, at the beginning of the tour, he stopped in Kurma Kshetra, where he delivered the Kurma Brahman, and then he gave ecstatic love to Vasudev the leper, and miraculously cured him of his disease. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu went on to a very, very, perhaps the most famous temple of Nrsingadev, just outside of Vishakhapatnam. There's a hill called Singhachalam, and the presiding deity is Jyada Narsingha. The Lord, in the mood of a devotee, he offered his prostrated obeisances to Lord Nrsingadev. And he, with great ecstatic love, worshipped the Lord by chanting this mantra, which was composed by Sridhar Swami in his commentary of Srimad Bhagavatam. Sri Narsingha, Jaya Narsingha, Jaya Jaya Narsingha, Praladesha, Jaya Padma, Mukha Padma Bringa. And then he chanted another beautiful prayer, which was also composed by Sridhar Swami. This prayer so concisely describes the mood of Lord Nrsingadev's compassion. Although very ferocious, the lioness is very kind to her cubs. Similarly, although very ferocious to non-devotees like Hiranyakashipu, Lord Nrsingadev is very, very soft and kind to devotees like Prahlad Maharaj. The Lord recited different verses from the Shastra in glorification of Lord Nrsingadev. And then the priest brought the Lord nice garlands and prasad to Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. After this, on the banks of Godavari, he met with Ramananda Rai, where they discussed the highest treasures of Vaishnava subject matter. Then he continued south, just outside of what is today called Vijayawada. There are hills called Mangalagiri. On top of one of those hills is the deity of Pana Nrsinga. You have to walk up about 600 steps to get there. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's footprints were installed there by Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur to commemorate his visit. And there Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu worshipped Lord Nrsingadev. These two deities are very, very important. Singhachalam, Jyada Narsingha, that was a particular place where, according to Sri Vaishnavas, Hiranyakashipu cast Prahlad into the ocean and put a mountain on top of him to kill him. But Lord Nrsingadev appeared. He was part Nrsingadev, part Varahadev, and he saved Prahlad. After Prahlad was coronated as king, Prahlad went back to that place and personally installed that deity there. Anand Narsingha, Srila Prabhupada explains that it is said that the pujaris, there's a whole long story of that also, how the Lord appeared there. But Prabhupada says that he's offered jaggery water. Actually, in Satya Yuga, he was offered nectar. In Treta Yuga, ghee. And Dwapara Yuga, milk. In Kali Yuga, jaggery. Because as Kali Yuga progresses, milk will be a scarcity also. And whatever quantity you offer the deity, he drinks half and leaves the other half. Have any of you been there? The deity is actually, his body is the mountain. And there's a hole where his mouth is. And when they pour the jaggery water, it's gone. It's not that you just say, please accept it, and then he glances. It's not one of those glancing offerings. They actually pour it right into his mouth, and it's gone. And nobody knows where it goes, except the devotees, into Lord Nrsingadev's mouth. And even some scientists went there to figure out, where's this jaggery water going? Over the centuries, they're offering billions of gallons, perhaps, and it's not coming back out, and there's no ants anywhere. The Lord drinks it. But when we were there once, the pujari wanted to show us how he knows that the Lord is satisfied with half. You can offer him 10 gallons, or you can offer him 1 conch shell. But when half the offering is there, he said, listen carefully. You hear, So that means he's satisfied. The other half is Mahaprasad. Haribo. The Lord worshipped him there. And shortly after that, he went to Ahovalam, where there are 9 ancient deities of Lord Narasimhadev, where Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu worshipped. When he returned to Puri, after about 2 years, he began to invite the devotees for Ratha Yatra each year. Before Ratha Yatra, along with all of his associates, he went into the Gundicha temple with brooms and buckets of water to clean Gundicha Mandir. Absolutely spotless, he said it must be. And although Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was then the Supreme Personality, he's always the Supreme Personality of Godhead, known by his devotees, he was also a sannyasi. He was personally sweeping. Not with handled brooms, but on his hands and knees with these brooms. And he was encouraging all the devotees. Prabhupada said, as an acharya, he was teaching by his example. He said, I want you to collect every grain of dust, every piece of sand, every piece of straw. Everything must be out of here. And he said, you all make pile, and whoever collects the most, I will give you nice Mahaprasad. But who do you think collected the most? All the devotees put their gathered dust, straw, and sand together in a mountain. And Lord Chaitanya, he made a mountain that was far bigger than everyone else put together. He was cleaning, it appears he had 1,000 hands. And then they brought in hundreds and hundreds, thousands of buckets of water, and they cleaned the ceilings, the walls, the floors. the Jagamohan, the Kirtan hall, the altar, everything was cleansed. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was polishing with his own cloth to make it just shiny clean. Such enthusiasm. Just to show us, this is the type of enthusiasm we must have to clean the temple of our hearts, which has been there since Satya Yuga. In the Skanda Purana, Purushottama Mahatmya, it is described there how when King Indrajumana was taken by Narada Muni to Niladri, the place where Jagannath was to manifest, they first found the deity of Nrsingadev and had a wonderful ceremony to install him in a temple. Since that time, that deity is there. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, with his devotees, thoroughly cleaned that temple, sweeping every grain of dust, and then washing till it was sparkling. After the whole day of cleansing, they took rest for a few minutes, and then Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu proclaimed Nam Sankirtan. In the temple of Nrsingadev, they had an ecstatic kirtan. They were chanting so loudly that the entire universe was shaking. And Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, enraptured by the nectar of the holy name, he was dancing like a mad lion. Suddenly he stopped, and he turned to one of the sons of Advaitacharya. Advaitacharya had 6 sons. 3 of them were great devotees: Achyutananda, Krishna Mishra, and Sri Gopal. He said, Sri Gopal, chant the holy names and dance. How would you like to get that order from Lord Chaitanya? Well, you have gotten that order from Lord Chaitanya through Parampara, through the scriptures. He's ordering all of us to chant the holy names of the Lord and dance. Well, Sri Gopal, he started chanting and dancing under the ecstatic gaze of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And in ecstasy, he fell to the ground, unconscious. Seriously unconscious. His father, Advaita Prabhu, he ran to him, put his dear son on his lap. The devotees gathered around him, sprinkling water in his face. But there was no sign of life. At that time, when it was really desperate, Advaitacharya and all the devotees chanted very loudly the names of Lord Narasimha-Dev. Narasimha, Narasimha, Narasimha. But they did it very loudly. They made the entire universe shake. Maybe something shook somewhere. Right? But still, there was no symptom of life. So all the devotees were chanting Nrsinga's name and crying. And Lord Chaitanya very blissfully placed his hand over the heart of Sri Gopal and said, Sri Gopal, stand up. And Sri Gopal stood up. And everybody loudly continued the kirtan of the holy names. Hare There have been many very great devotees of Lord Narasimhadev. We have mentioned Sridhar Swami, Shankaracharya. He was their Ishtadev. There was one associate of Lord Chaitanya who worshipped Narasimhadev as his Ishtadev. His name was Pradyumna Brahmachari. But Lord Chaitanya was so pleased with his devotion to Lord Narahari that Lord Chaitanya gave him the name Narasinghananda, one who takes great bliss in worshipping Lord Narasimhadev. Also, it could mean one who gives great bliss to Lord Narasimhadev. Chaitanya Charitamrita, Srila Prabhupada describes that he was such an intimate associate of Lord Narasimhadev that Lord Narasimhadev would personally speak to him. And he was very powerful. I'll tell a couple stories about Narasimhananda Brahmachari. When Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu decided to go to Vrindavan for his first attempt, he came from Puri. As he was traveling, Maharaj Prataparudra, he just took all the facilities of his whole royal treasury and everything he had just to make wonderful, comfortable facilities for Lord Chaitanya and his devotees as they traveled through his kingdom. Then they came to Bengal, to Vidyanagar, where for about a week they stayed at Vidyavachastapati's house, the brother of Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya. Hundreds and thousands of people came to see Lord Chaitanya there. And he induced them all to take shelter of Nam Sankirtan. Soon there were millions of people. So he escaped. Not escaped, he just secretly left and went to Kuliagram, which is today Navadvip town. In Kulia, he stayed at the house of one Madhava. There are great historians on the life of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu explain he forgave all those people who came to him who were previously offensive blasphemers, who blasphemed the Lord and his devotees. He gave great mercy to Devananda Pandit, and he excused Gopal Chapala from his offense to Srivas Pandit. From Kulia, Lord Chaitanya continued his route to Vrindavan. Narasimhananda Brahmachari, he was a brahmachari in the real sense. That means he had no possessions. Not even a laptop computer. He was so renounced, he didn't even have a cell phone. He was so detached from this world, he didn't even have an iPod. He was a very staunch brahmachari. He had no money, he had no possessions, but he had unlimited desire to serve. And the Supreme Personality of Godhead is Bhavagrahi. That means he accepts our desire to serve him. So Narasimhananda Brahmachari wanted Lord Chaitanya to have such a happy journey to Vrindavan. So he sat in a secluded place in meditation. And in his meditation, he was building roads all the way from Kulia toward Vrindavan. Wide roads, not made out of bricks, but made out of precious jewels. And then he covered every inch of the road with fragrant, auspicious flower petals, so it would be soft for the Lord's feet. And along the sides of the roads, he was planting, not just planting, but they were immediately growing into full blossom with flowers, bakula trees, with fragrant bakula flowers blossoming. And at intervals, he was excavating lakes with cooling water that was sweet as nectar, filled with fragrant lotus flowers, with ghats going down, and the steps were made of precious jewels. And then he created in his mind very, very pleasant breezes that were saturated with the fragrance of flowers. As Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was walking, to everyone else, they were just, dusty, dirty roads. Yes, pathways. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, that's usually a sign that I'm going overtime. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he only saw what was in Narasimhananda's brahmachari's mind with his eyes. He was seeing these beautiful, beautiful roads of jewels and flowers and lakes and trees. Because the gross elements and the subtle elements are both material. So for the Lord, there's no difference. If you really, really want to do something for the Lord, if you really want to do it, you'll do it. You won't just think about it. Yes? You'll do it. Krishna consciousness is not just sentiment. I want to preach, but today there's a nice television show on. So while I'm watching the television, I'll meditate on preaching. The Lord is not going to see your preaching. He's going to see your television show. And is that what you want to do to your Lord? So if we really have a desire to do it, we'll do it. But if we don't have the means to do it, then our desire will manifest in the Lord's heart as the actual offering. And that is reality. If you're lame and you want to dance in kirtan, the Lord will see you dancing so beautiful during the kirtan. If you're old and you want to go out and distribute 10,000 books a day, the Lord will see you distribute 10,000 books a day. If we're sick and we want to eat nice prasad, something like that. But the Lord is bhavagrahi. He does not accept the thing, he accepts the purpose in which it is offered. So for him, he was accepting the devotional offerings of Narasimhananda Brahmachari at every step. But something mysterious happened. He was making the road inch by inch. He came to Kanai Natashala, and then he couldn't build the road beyond that. His mind just wasn't able to do it. So he came out of his meditation and proclaimed to all the devotees, Lord Chaitanya is not going to Vrindavan. He's going to Kanai Natashala, and then he's coming back. He said, I am certain about it. Have no doubt what I say. Devotees were silent. Lord Chaitanya went on and on and on, many hundreds of kilometers. He went to Ramakeli. Do you remember our yatra? We drove from Navadvip to Ramakeli. It took about 8 hours. Mahaprabhu was walking with hundreds and thousands of people behind him. Wherever he went, people were just renouncing their homes just to follow him. Everyone was chanting the holy names in ecstasy. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu came to Ramkeli, where he met Rupa and Sanatan. They surrendered with great humility. Sanatan Goswami said, better you don't go to Vrindavan with so many people. You'll enjoy it much better, either yourself alone or with a few. From Ramkeli, he continued on to Kanai Natashala. And then he turned around to all the devotees and said, I'm going back to Puri. And he returned to Puri. Wonderful. But there was a great lesson. As he was leaving Jagannath Puri, all of his associates were coming with him, including Gadadhar Pandit. The Lord said to Gadadhar, you cannot leave Puri. You have taken vow of Checha Sannyas. That means you never leave the place of your worshipable deity, Tota Gopinath. You cannot leave. Gadadhar Pandit said, to hell with my vow of Checha Sannyas. Wherever your lotus feet are, is where my Tota Gopinath is. And in seeing you, I'm worshiping Tota Gopinath tens and millions of times. The Lord said, you may think like that, but if you come with me, I will be responsible for you making the offense of breaking your vow. Gadadhar Pandit said, I'm not coming with you. I just happen to make the decision to go see Sachimata in Navadvip. And you just happen to be going at the same time. So Lord Chaitanya and his procession were there, and Gadadhar Pandit was just to the side, not part of the procession, but just off to the side, little behind. When they came to the Mahanadi River, which is really officially going out of Puri district, Lord Chaitanya got on a boat and he called Gadadhar Pandit and said, I am not going to be held responsible for your offense. Go back to Puri immediately. There's no other discussion on this subject. And then he drifted off on the boat. Gadadhar Pandit fell to the ground unconscious. The separation from the Lord. Lord Chaitanya told Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya, who also had Checha Sannyas, to Jagannath, he said, take him back with you and take care of him nicely. So when Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu returned to the outskirts of Puri in his unsuccessful attempt to go to Vrindavan, he called for Gadadhar Pandit. And he said, Krishna would not allow me to go to Vrindavan because I hurt the heart of Gadadhar Pandit. This is a very essential lesson on the path of devotion. If you are hurting the hearts of devotees, Krishna will not allow you into Vrindavan. Gadadhar Pandit, then Lord Chaitanya said, I will not even attempt to go to Vrindavan ever again without the blessings and the sanction of Gadadhar Pandit. And Gadadhar Pandit said, no, my Lord, it's not like that. You are the independent, supreme personality of Godhead. I'm only your obedient servant. But if you want my blessings, come to my house for prasad, and I will give you my blessings. So the Lord went to his house, and Gadadhar Pandit, who was Srimati Radharani in Krishna's Leela, she cooked so many beautiful preparations and served the Lord to his heart's content. But the devotees were struck with wonder with the wisdom of Narasimhananda Brahmachari. And there's another incident like this. Every year, the devotees of Navadvip would come for the Ratha Yatra. But one year, before the Chaturmasya, a relative of Shivananda Sen named Srikanta Sen, he went alone to Puri to see Lord Chaitanya. He stayed about 2 months. As he was leaving back for Bengal, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu gave a very strong order. He said, tell the devotees headed by Advaitacharya and Shivananda Sen, do not come to Jagannath Puri this year, because I'm personally coming to Bengal in the month of Paush, December, January. Devotees were so excited. But still, Advaitacharya was going to go to Puri for Ratha Yatra. To wait till January, December is a long time. But it was the order of the Lord. So they all somehow restrained themselves, and moment after moment they were just waiting for December to come. And then it came. Jagadananda Pandit and Shivananda Sen. They were waiting. The days were going by. The Lord was coming. Soon, the month was just during its last days, and there was no word from Lord Chaitanya. They were becoming very depressed. At that moment, unexpectedly, Narasimhananda Brahmachari appeared in the house of Shivananda Sen. He said, why do you look so sad? Why do we look so sad? We didn't go to Puri this year. Because Lord Chaitanya promised he would come at the month of Pausha. And now it's almost the end of the month. The Lord promised, but he hasn't come. How do we understand this? How do we understand this? He said, let me look into this. He said, I will personally bring Lord Chaitanya here within 3 days. I give you my word. Then he went into his meditation. For 2 days. 2 days later, he comes out of his meditation. He tells Jagadananda Pandit and Shivananda Sen, I've brought him already to Bengal. He's at the house of Raghava Pandit in Panihati. Tomorrow, he'll be here. So we should arrange a wonderful feast. Get all sorts of vegetables and milk products and grains, and I will personally cook a feast. The next morning, very early, Narasimhananda Brahmachari cooked an excellent feast. So many delicious preparations. And just around noontime, he offered it on his altar. He had 3 deities, Lord Jagannath, Lord Narasimhadev, and Lord Chaitanya. He made a plate for each of the 3 deities. Not one plate, many plates for each of the 3 deities. And then he went into his meditation to bring Lord Chaitanya right onto the altar to eat the prasad. And before his eyes, he saw Lord Chaitanya appear. Narasimhananda Brahmachari, his hairs were standing on end, his limbs were trembling, his tears were flowing from his eyes as he saw Lord Chaitanya eat all the food on his plate, leaving no remnants. Then he went over to the plate of Lord Jagannath and ate all the food there and left no remnants. Then he sat at the plates of Lord Narasimhadev and ate everything with no remnants. Narasimhananda Brahmachari, although his heart was ecstatic with love, he exclaimed, my Lord, I know you've eaten your own plate. That's excellent. And I know that you're none different than Jagannath, so that's also excellent. But why did you eat all the food of my Ishtadev, Lord Narasimhadev? There's nothing for him now. How can I live if he doesn't eat nice lunch today? Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami explains what really happened. In his heart of hearts, because Lord Chaitanya was in the mood of a devotee too. In his heart of hearts, Narasimhananda Brahmachari was wondering, what is Lord Narasimhadev's relationship with Lord Chaitanya? And just to reciprocate with his desire and to reveal the real truth, the Lord ate all Lord Narasimhadev's offerings. So then, Narasimhananda Brahmachari understood without doubt that he is my Lord Narasimhadev. And he is the one who gave me this name. So he came out of his meditation and he looked really sad. And Jagadananda Pandit Shivananda Sen said, why do you look so sad and why you're calling out in anguish? He said, because your Lord. Do you know what he did today? He ate all the food of Lord Narasimhadev. And if the master doesn't eat, the servant has to fast. So bring all the ingredients again, and I will cook again to offer to Lord Narasimha. They understood that he has great power. They said, well, where is Lord Chaitanya? He said he came here, he ate lunch, and then he returned. He's already back in Panihati again. And then he's returning to Puri. Now they knew that Narasimhananda Brahmachari, because of his devotion, he had tremendous power. But at the same time, it was quite confusing to them. So he made a whole nother offering, presented it to his Lord, Narasimha Bhagavan, and then distributed the remnants. The next year, they all went for the Ratha Yatra. And one day, in the Gambhira, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu extolled the glories of Narasimhananda Brahmachari. He said, Shivananda Sen was present, listening. He said, last year, in the month of Paush, I went all the way to the Navadvip area. He said, and you know, I went to Bengal, and Narasimhananda Brahmachari made such a wonderful feast for me. And he began to explain what type of sabjis, and what type of sweets, and what type of cakes he prepared. He said, I ate them all, and then I returned to Puri. And Shivananda Sen, Jagadananda Pandit then understood that he kept his word. Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was so satisfied with Narasimhananda Brahmachari's devotion to Lord Narasimhadev. Srila Prabhupada has given us the path to Vrindavan and the worship of Sri Sri Radha and Krishna. Golokera Premadana Harinam Sankirtan. This Hare Krishna Mahamantra has descended from Goloka Vrindavan, specifically for the purpose of awakening Vrindavan within our hearts, revealing Radha and Krishna, their forms, their qualities, their pastimes, their abode, and our own relationship to Krishna in the spiritual world. Srila Prabhupada explained that when he traveled around the world, he only had two things. He had faith in the words of his spiritual master, who ordered him to preach this message in the English language all over the world, and he had complete faith in the holy name of Krishna. That anyone, wherever they're from, whatever they've done or not done, if anyone sincerely takes shelter of the holy name of Krishna with a proper service attitude, they will be elevated to Vrindavan. Along with the name of Krishna, he's given us the Gayatri Mantra to help us to better chant Harinam. And he's also given in our temples this Narasingha mantra. And this Narasingha worship that is offered in all the temple events after the artis. This is our spirit. To help remove the obstacles, especially from purely chanting the holy names. Hare And out of causeless mercy, the Lord sends all help for his sincere devotees. And today, to help remove the obstacles from our devotional paths, Srila Prabhupada has sent one of his very, very favorite servants, disciples, and associates.